everyone, talking about the top 5 best men's designer fragrances released in 2022. And not saying that these are only should be worn by men, but these are all marketed for men as masculine. And I would say they're all at least fairly masculine leaning. These are not in any particular order. First up, Ralph's Club Parfum. This was a newer flanker of the original, was like an eau de parfum. The notes in this one are lavender, apple, grapefruit, clary sage, geranium, orange blossom, vetiver, cedar, patchouli, and cashmere. And I think this is really nice for what it is. Basically, like kind of one of the best designer masculine blue fragrances out there in terms of modern ones to my nose, which is stuff like Bleu de Chanel, YSLY type of line, and those kind of things are considered like blue fragrances. Not that I'm not comparing this to those as like, oh, this is so much better than those, but I think this stands out a lot more than kind of the typical wannabe blue fragrances that come out these days. Not my favorite type of category, but if I had to pick a blue fragrance to wear, it really might be this exact one. And despite being very mainstream, obviously it's blue, it's by Ralph Lauren, it doesn't smell boring to me at all. Actually, yeah, I think it smells really good. And when I would smell it, I would kind of keep going back again and again. Like, yeah, wait, that's actually a lot more appealing than I would have expected. It is still totally inoffensive and safe. So, you could wear it around a variety of people, including probably workplace, without worrying of offending anybody. But at the same time, it does stand out to me as like a wow, you smell good type of scent too. So kind of a good combination there. Really versatile too for both formal and casual occasions and kind of any type of season, weather, day or night. It can be difficult to find good fragrances that are that versatile. Like maybe you can find ones that are okay, they work for formal or casual, but only in hot weather or cold weather or whatever. So for this to be like any type of event, I think that's pretty good. Moderate longevity and projection goes for $105 for a 50 milliliter bottle or $140 for a 100 milliliter. And I imagine it will be cheaper once it's been out for a bit longer and hits FragranceNet. And again, this is the Parfum version from 2022. If you just look up Ralph's Club Parfum, a lot of the results are for the Eau de Parfum version. But yeah, I'm talking about the Parfum version. Next up, another Parfum flanker, Azzaro, the Most Wanted Parfum. The notes in this are like ginger, woods, and vanilla sort of thing. Definitely my favorite in the Wanted series by Azzaro. It smells really well blended here. Like the ginger doesn't get overly spicy, but it's also not like, sweet overdose or something like that. I think this has some similarities with stuff like Armani Stronger With You, but this to me is a lot less kind of thickly sweet and cloying. This is almost like a combination of different inspirations from like The Most Wanted, Stronger With You, and By the Fireplace. Not a dupe to any one of those, but if you took kind of some of the DNA of all of those, I think it would kind of make this. And it smells more mature than a lot of the others in this line, but not in a dated way, just kind of like some of those are so youthful that this one is to me more than most of the others in this Azzaro line, kind of something that you don't have to feel like, is that going to come across a bit little too young or something like that if you're not, a teenager or whatever. And yeah, it's still a little bit too kind of sticky sweet for my taste, but I think it's really, really well done. And if you're open to kind of like somewhat of a sweet side for a masculine designer cologne, I think that, yeah, pretty good. And it has pretty good longevity and projection as well. Also $85 for a 50 ml and $105 for a 100 ml, so pretty reasonably priced there as far as decent fragrance goes. Next up, Lacoste from the L1212 series, Blanc Eau Fraiche EDT. Confusing name because Eau Fraiche usually means in fragrance that it has a certain concentration, like really, really low, lower than even like Eau de Toilette cologne. Eau Fraiche is like 1% fragrance in it, but they're just calling it that to me, and it's like fresh here, so yeah, it's an eau de toilette. The notes in it are grapefruit, ginger, lemon, apple, juniper, lavender, ambroxan, vetiver, and cedar. I think it's like really refreshing and cooling, like super fresh, but not the cliche, shower gel type of freshy. There is a little bit of a uniqueness to it that makes it a bit higher quality than the typical kind of fresh scent in this price range. This goes for $85 for a 100 ml, for example. I think Lacoste in general are just really good at making mass appealing scents that smell really nice and that don't smell exactly like everything else out there. Not that it's, niche or, whoa, mind-blowingly creative, but it's not just another designer scent. Like to me, there is something a little bit different about it. And yeah, I think with these notes too, it would have been so easy for this to smell completely generic synthetic mess. But to me, it actually feels pretty smooth and inviting and just, again, very refreshing for like a warm day. Moderate longevity and projection. And next up, Noir Extreme Parfum by Tom Ford. I actually like this a lot better than the original. This is another one that's a flanker, that's the Parfum version. I think the original Noir Extreme is nice, like kind of a nuanced mix of sweet, spicy, woodsy, powdery, and floral with a sort of a bit of a gourmand tilt. And I would say the same about this, but I feel like this one has more of like a sexy sort of vibe as well. Like they both smell good, but this is more like suave, if that makes sense, and a little bit less gourmand sweet than the original, a little bit more smoky and leathery. It almost, every time I think of this one, it almost reminds me of the smell of like hugging someone who smoked a cigarette earlier that day, but not in a bad way, even though that sounds like it would be. And I'm not a big fan of Tom Ford fragrances in general. A lot of them kind of end up smelling a bit stuffy to me or something, but this one I think is very, very appealing and would probably smell good to most people around you. Definitely in my personal top 10 favorite Tom Ford fragrances. And yeah, if you've tried the original Noir Extreme and you like the idea of kind of like a smoky or spicier, bit more leathery version, totally worth checking out. Also has good longevity and projection. I remember after I sampled this, I put, a test strip of it or whatever in the trash, and there was like other stuff on top of it. And for like the next time I opened the trash or something to put something in, my wife was like, "What's that smell?" and was like asking about it from that being in the trash. So I guess it definitely has good longevity and projection. And that goes for $175 for a 50 ml and $230 for a 100 ml. So pricier than the others, but as far as Tom Ford fragrances go, that is on the much cheaper end, unfortunately, or fortunately in this case, I guess. And last, Guy Laroche Drakker Intense. This has notes of wormwood, coriander, rosemary, bergamot, clary sage, lavender, juniper berries, patchouli, moss, suede, and lavender. This is a flanker of like Drakkar Noir. I always forget that Drakkar is not the brand name, which is Guy Laroche. But yeah, so I was going to this thinking, I actually really like Drakkar Noir. And I was looking at the notes of this, so thinking like, this looks like it would smell like super like mature, dated fougere-ish. Kind of like something like Tom Ford Fougere d'Argent or Beau de Jour, neither of which I personally like. Just I don't like fougères usually, and it's not my taste. Or like, if you're not sure what that is, picture just like a really bitter green sort of like fern plant type of smell vibe or something like that. But fortunately for my taste at least, this is not like that. It does smell more old school, but to me it's more of in like a classic cozy shaving cream type of way. Almost like kind of a barbershop vibe, but without the like black pepper side of that. And somehow I actually feel like it even smells a bit unique. I do not like all of the notes in here, especially not patchouli. And oftentimes patchouli just being present whatsoever ruins a fragrance for me. But here I feel like it totally works, doesn't go pungent or take over. And same with like the wormwood, coriander, and some of the other notes in here that could often do that otherwise. Yeah, just I think this ended up being really fresh and not swampy like I kind of pictured it might be. Moderate to good longevity and projection, and great price, under $30 for a bottle. So yeah, that one should hopefully work for any budget. And I'm sure if you like kept an eye out for a sale, even like on fragrance, and I think for like $23 you can get a 50 milliliter of it, or for $25 100 milliliter tester or something like that. But yeah, so not saying these are all like the most mind-blowing fragrance that you're ever going to smell in your life. I did do another list called Top 10 Best Fragrances Released in 2022 of what I think are just the best overall. But I wanted to do one because I know some people's tastes really are more either in kind of specifically more just like masculine designer type stuff, and also a lot of the ones on my other list were really expensive. Most of these are under, around $100 or less, except for the Tom Ford one. So yeah, if you have any favorites that you think I should have included, let me know. I think the year of 2022 started out really strong for masculine designer cologne releases, but for some reason the second half of the year it was like barren. Like there was like nothing coming out that was anywhere close to the first part. So I don't know why that was, but hoping for more good ones to check out in 2023. And yeah, I hope if you check any of these out, I hope you like them.